Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for Atlanta Business Radio. Brought to you by OnPay, Atlanta's new standard in payroll. To learn more and get your first month free, go to onpay.com. Now, here's your host.
Lee Cantor here, another episode of Atlanta Business Radio, and this is going to be a fun one. I have with me today Molly Darby with Bert's Big Adventure. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Well, before we get too far into things, do you mind sharing a little bit about Bert's Big Adventure? What is it and how's it work?
Of course. So Bert's Big Adventure was founded in 2002, and we're headquartered right here in Atlanta, but we are in about 26 markets across the U.S. And what we're known for is taking children with terminal and chronic illnesses to Walt Disney World once a year. And we go over the top. So we have a private airline, which is Endeavor Air. The characters come to us when we're in Disney. We jump to the front of the line. Everything is red carpet, and we take everyone under the roof that's living with the child. So anyone that's impacted by the illness. So if aunt and uncle live with the child, or grandma, grandpa, which a lot of times that is the case when we're working with children with, disabilities. So we take the whole family, and we just have this really magical 5-day, all expenses paid journey to Walt Disney World. But I think sort of what sets us apart from some other wish-granting organizations, which we love and know, like Make-A-Wish, that are incredible organizations, is that the trip for us and for the families is really sort of like their starting point to a marathon, I would say. So it's sort of like their initiation into the rest of the Bert's Big Adventure programs. And so that's kind of what sets us apart from others, is that once they are a part of Bert's Big Adventure, they are with us for the rest of their lifetime. And so we have a couple of other programs. We have our reunion adventures, which are basically giant family reunions where we invite all of the kids from every year that's gone on the trip, which now we're up to about 250 families. So they're very large events. And we do this quarterly, and it's just a chance for the kids to sort of reconnect with those friends that they made on the trip, to reconnect with the staff, and for the families to really create bonds with each other. They really create these incredible bonds on the trip, and then throughout the rest of our programs, they understand each other. They, have sort of walked the same walk. And so it's a really tight-knit community. A lot of our families will say before Bert's Big Adventure, they felt isolated. They didn't feel heard. They felt like they were living on an island. And we probably can all relate to that now. But after Bert's Big Adventure, they felt like they finally have a family and people that can relate. So the reunions are really unique opportunities for the families to reconnect. And we always do something cool that the children will enjoy, like the aquarium or a Hawks game or Santa Sips, who donate photo packages. So we do lots of cool things. So the kids are excited to be there, but the important part is really those connections. And then we also have a fairy godparent program, which anytime one of our kids is admitted into children's health care, we send a volunteer every single day that they're there. And the volunteer brings a warm meal so that the kids can have a break from hospital food. So bring a warm meal for anyone in the hospital room and an activity for the kids. So we paint a lot of nails. We build a lot of Lego sets and really just provide a little bit of a break for the child and the parent. So either the parent can take a shower or get a fresh breath of air, or, just take a moment to kind of take a breath. And for the child, it's someone who's visiting, it's a familiar face, and it's someone that's not a doctor, or a nurse, but they're wonderful, but it's someone that can come in and sort of entertain and kind of give everybody a little fresh breath of air. We have about 100 volunteers. We do about 300 visits to the hospital annually. So that's a huge program for us. It's sponsored by Carter's and Oshkosh, who are wonderful. And then we have our last program, which is, we call it other charitable services. But really, unfortunately, when it comes time that we lose a child, because we do work with kids with terminal illnesses, we cover the funeral costs. And so that's a really, not as joyful part of Bert's Big Adventure, but an equally as important one, because, by the time the families are nearing that end of life part, it can sort of take that relief off of not having to worry about money. And unfortunately, that really comes into play when you're dealing with, children with special abilities. So we rely on our donors and our corporate sponsors to help with all of those programs. And they've really stepped up in a big way, and in a way that makes us really proud, and the family's really proud of what we're able to do together.
So now, how does a family qualify, or how do you select a family that is appropriate for this program?
Yeah, so the family has to obviously have a child with a terminal or chronic illness. They have to live in a listening area of the Bert Show. They have to prove financial need, and they have to have never been to Walt Disney World before, which is usually the case. And then in terms of selection, the families can either fill out an application for themselves, or they can be nominated. It doesn't matter. The nomination doesn't come into play. It's really just a way for, let's say a teacher to anonymously nominate a family, or someone in your church or in your community to nominate a family. And then they would just go online and fill out the application. And then we have a medical committee made up of doctors and nurses throughout Atlanta and South Carolina that really go through every single application with a fine-tooth comb and sort of, make decisions based on, who has had the longest journey, who has a long journey ahead, who may not be with us next year, that we need to get in this year. And I'm sorry, I'll go backwards a little bit. They have to be between the ages of 5 and 12 when we go on the trip as well. So they really just narrow it down to, the most critical needs, the most critical medical needs in their journey. And then they host phone interviews with, sort of those top 20 to 30 families. And then we choose from there. So we have taken roughly 55 family members for the last, we've been at it for 18 years. So I would say we started with 7 families in 2002, and now we usually take between 13 and 14 families every year.
But it must be a really tough job to choose the ones that make it and the ones that don't. I mean, I wouldn't want to be that person or that team.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither. And that is why I'm so glad I don't have to be a part of that process. Of course, none of our staff is involved in that process. And I think we're really thankful for that we have sort of a medical eye, of our doctors and nurses. And so it's not a fun job. I have no doubt, but I know they really go through it with meticulous care. And, we've taken many families that, have come back from the trip saying, they don't feel alone anymore. We've had children pass away before we were even able to take the trip. We've had children pass away shortly after the trip. But in general, the families that are with us, for longer periods, have really come back and said, yes, this is a wonderful vacation, a wonderful escape. But more importantly, they came home with these connections. And I think, the community has really become the biggest part of what we do. And so, when I say we're known for Disney World, we are, that's sort of what sparkles, and that's sort of the excitement and the joy of everything that we're able to do. But there are also so many other programs that we have, that really extend to the family to be a support system and a community for these families out, instead of just this quick escape, just kind of one and done escape. So we're really proud of, the supporters that we have, that we're able to have these programs and we're able to support these families for a lifetime.
Now, when a child does pass, is there a way for the family to still stay connected to the community? Is there any kind of support after that?
Absolutely. They are still invited to all of our events. And a lot of the families do continue to join us and do continue to stay in touch. We have, other kind of smaller measures. We have a private Bert's Big Adventure family community page where families, bounce ideas off each other, talk about health insurance, talk about doctors, talk about diagnoses. And so they really keep in touch that way as well. And then, on top of just our quarterly reunions, we have so many other events where the kids can get together. We're so fortunate, if Gas South calls and says, oh my gosh, we have 10 extra tickets to the Braves game this weekend, or we have 20 extra tickets to Disney on Ice. I mean, we get calls like that all the time. We're really fortunate, and we're able to sort of see, who's available and who wants to go. And so they really connect, a lot more than just 4 times a year. And through Facebook, they're talking and communicating all the time. So it's really special. And it's lately, especially, we, are working on different things to kind of keep people connected, keep our families connected. But it's really fun to see the kids, FaceTiming with each other and sort of using these technologies that are now really coming to light to connect with each other. And so that's been really, really fun to see the kids continuing to connect. And, that's our biggest mission. We're working from home just like everyone else, but fundamentally nothing has really changed. We're still working on making sure that these kids have opportunities, and the parents too have opportunities to connect. We recently started the Bert's Big Adventure Book Club. So on our Facebook page every day at 10 a.m., someone from our staff or one of our volunteers goes on and reads to the kids every single day. And it's just a familiar face, gives the parents a moment to grab a cup of coffee or take a deep breath, give the kids 15 or 20 minutes to see a familiar face and bring a little bit of joy to the day. And, they're all technology savvy, probably more so than we are. And so, you can see them commenting, and you can see them posting pictures of themselves watching the book club. So that's been really fun. We're hosting kids yoga once a week over Zoom with Batch, which is an Atlanta-based gym. They're wonderful. And so the kids can see each other that way. We're having a virtual Zoom dance party. So we're really getting creative with the tools that we have, and doing our best to continue to make sure the kids connect, even though we can't, physically be with them. But we're just continually trying to figure out ways we can kind of give them that virtual hug until we can get together in person again.
Are there any opportunities for people to volunteer if they'd like to get more involved?
There are. So to volunteer with Bert's Big Adventure, we have opportunities that are really broken down by how much time you have to volunteer. And I know that's challenging for everyone. So if you visit bertsbigadventure.org and click volunteer on the top, you'll see everything broken down by time. But of course, the Fairy Godparent program, which we talked about earlier, that's, you're committing to a year, you're committing to 4 visits a year. They take several hours. So it's a little more of a time commitment. But we do accept applications through our website. And then we also have some other opportunities that are a little less time consuming, maybe a couple of hours a month, no big deal. We have our Magic Squad, which you really just enter your email address and say, I want to help. And a lot of times that's things like, hey, we have an event with Gas South and we need help checking people in. We have an event at the San Ysidro run. We need, help on the course. So that's really kind of a volunteer as you're available opportunity, but a lot of fun. You get to come to a lot of events. And then we also have our skills sharing, which is a really unique opportunity. And you probably see nonprofits really heading in that direction. But I mean, as a nonprofit, as any nonprofit, you're running on very thin margins, trying to put as much money as you can towards programs. And so this is really a way to share your knowledge and talent. And so it's not as glamorous as, let's say being with the kids and hanging out at the pool or helping us at events, but it's a really impactful way to help a nonprofit by offering your talent, whether that's being financial advice, whether that's being social media advice or editing or really almost anything. Nonprofits are a business just like everyone else. And so we need those talents and can really benefit from those. It's a very impactful way to help. So you can sign up for skill sharing on our website and you really just put in your name and say, here's what I'm good at and here's how much time I have. And 9 times out of 10, we'll reach out and say, oh, we could use this. We didn't even know we could use this. So that's a really unique way to help. And then we also have our social sidekick program, which really, I'm sure everyone knows social media is so important for us. And as a nonprofit, we don't like to spend money on ads, and we don't like to promote things unless, we absolutely have to. And so kind of enlisting these social sidekicks to make sure they're following us and making sure they're leaving comments for our kids and encouraging our kids, or, just saying simple things like, that's a beautiful smile, or, so good to see you. It really sort of helps our social media presence and helps us really get the message out and really let the community know about our kids and what they're struggling with and how we can help them and how we can encourage them. So that's a really easy one. It takes, 10 seconds a day pretty much. But we love our social sidekicks. They're so helpful. And then, of course, last but not least, just shopping through Amazon Smile. Amazon Smile is such a wonderful program. It doesn't cost you anything, and you're still paying the same amount. We're just getting a small portion from Amazon Smile, so anyone can do that. You just go to smile.amazon.com and select your charity, and hopefully you select Bert's Big Adventure.
And the volunteer opportunities, those are for people of all ages. You can be a kid and do a lot of those things too, right?
That's exactly right. Really, the only age, where we kind of cap the age is the Fairy Godparent program. And that really is just in line with children's health care policies, so you have to be 18 or above. And you do have to go through a training program and a background check, just like you would get your flu shot, just like you would with children's health care. And so we abide by those rules. But really all of the other opportunities are open for all age groups. And we really welcome that, and have really learned that sometimes the young and young at heart tend to be really great, ambitious volunteers. And so we love that.
So if somebody wanted to get more involved, to donate or nominate a family, what's the website again?
It's bertsbigadventure.org, and Bert is with an E, so BERTS, bertsbigadventure.org. You can see pictures from all of our trips, from all of our reunions. You can find out more about volunteering. You can donate, of course, if you feel inclined. We have an annual magazine that we put out that you can actually view online. But if you go to our website, you can really see right there on the homepage kind of what we've been up to, what we're working on. And then if you dig a little deeper, you can see pictures from our trip and videos from our trip and from our reunion adventures and pretty much all of the events where we have the kiddos out and about. So it's sure to make you smile.
Well, Molly, thank you so much for sharing your story and letting us know about this important work that you're doing. That's bertsbigadventure.org. Molly Darby, thank you for being part of the show.
Thank you.
All right, this is Lee Cantor. We will see you all next time on Atlanta Business Radio.
Today's episode of Atlanta Business Radio is brought to you by OnPay, Atlanta's new standard in payroll. To learn more and get your first month free, go to onpay.com.